Have you ever wondered why some women effortlessly command respect and admiration from men, while others struggle to be seen for their true worth? The truth is, your value is not just about who you are. It's about what you project and how you carry yourself. But beware, there are certain behaviors and mindsets that silently, slowly, and destructively chip away at your value in a man's eyes. These are subtle traps that can kill the respect, attraction, and genuine interest before you even realize it. Today, I'm going to reveal the 10 main things you absolutely must and know to protect and elevate your value. These are the core secrets that every woman needs to master if she wants to be truly respected, desired, and valued by the right man. Listen closely, because missing even one of these can cost you your worth, your power, and your place in his heart. Now, without further delay, here are the 10 essential ways to safeguard your value and stand out as a woman a man can't help but respect and cherish. Number 1, letting insecurity dictate your worth. Insecurity is one of the most dangerous things that can silently destroy your value in front of a man. When you allow doubt and fear to shape how you see yourself, it sends an unspoken message that you don't believe you are enough. This lack of self-confidence is something men can sense immediately, and it greatly diminishes the respect and attraction they feel toward you. Insecurity often shows up in subtle ways, constantly seeking validation, over-explaining your actions, or trying too hard to please. Instead of standing firm in your own identity, you become reactive, bending to what you think he wants, rather than being authentic. This not only drains your energy, but also creates an imbalance in the relationship dynamic, where you come across as needy or desperate. Men naturally gravitate toward women who have a strong sense of self, who know their value, and don't rely on external approval to feel worthy. Confidence is magnetic because it reflects inner peace and emotional stability. When insecurity rules, it breeds jealousy, overthinking, and unnecessary drama, which are all major turn-offs. It's important to recognize that everyone experiences moments of insecurity. But how you handle those moments is what truly matters. Instead of letting insecurity control you, take the time to build yourself, esteem through self, care, setting boundaries, and pursuing passions that make you feel empowered. The more you invest in yourself, the less space insecurity will have to grow. Another sign of insecurity is the fear of being alone or single. This fear can push you into relationships where you settle for less than you deserve simply to avoid being by yourself. Yet, true value comes from being whole and complete on your own. When a man sees that you are secure and happy, whether he's around or not, it elevates your worth immensely. Insecurity also causes you to doubt his intentions and question his actions unnecessarily. Instead of trusting the relationship, you create scenarios in your mind that fuel anxiety and mistrust. This negative energy not only harms your self-image, but also erodes the foundation of any connection you are trying to build. Learning to overcome insecurity takes patience and practice. It begins with recognizing your own unique strengths and appreciating the qualities that make you who you are. Stop comparing yourself to others or trying to fit into someone else's idea of perfection. Embrace your flaws and imperfections because they make you authentic and real. Remember, a man will never fully respect or value you if you don't respect and value yourself first. Your self-worth is your most powerful asset, and protecting it should be your top priority in any relationship. Number 2, over-communicating and losing your mystery. One of the biggest mistakes that can kill your value in front of a man is over-communicating. Sharing too much, too soon, revealing every thought, feeling, or detail before the relationship has naturally unfolded. While honesty and openness are important, there is a delicate balance between being authentic and giving away too much of yourself too quickly. When you over-communicate, you lose an essential part of what makes you intriguing, your mystery. Mystery is not about playing games or being fake. It's about maintaining a sense of depth and self-possession that invites curiosity rather than overwhelm. When you immediately lay out all your cards, your history, your worries, or your needs, it can make a man feel overwhelmed or even bored because there's nothing left to discover. Mystery creates attraction because it challenges him to want to know more, to invest time and effort into earning your trust and understanding. Over-communication can also come across as needy or desperate, especially if you constantly seek reassurance or validation through excessive texting, calling, or sharing your emotions. This kind of behavior places too much pressure on the man early on and makes the relationship feel unbalanced. It suggests that you don't have boundaries or respect for your own emotional space, which lowers the perception of your independence and strength. Another problem with over-communicating is that it can blur the lines between genuine connection and emotional dumping. When you share everything without filtering or timing, and the relationship feels less like a mutual discovery and more like a burden. Men want to feel like they are part of a journey, not a therapist or caretaker. This is why pacing your sharing is crucial. It builds anticipation and deepens the emotional bond over time. On the other hand, knowing how to listen and ask thoughtful questions creates space for meaningful interaction. It shows that you are interested, confident, and comfortable with silence. Sometimes, the power of your presence lies in what you don't say. When you maintain a bit of mystery, you allow the relationship to develop naturally, without forcing intimacy prematurely. Learning to balance openness with restraint takes self-awareness and confidence. It requires trusting the process and not rushing to fill every silence or space with words. This balance will increase your value in a man's eyes, making you more captivating and respected because you understand the importance of emotional pacing and self-control. Ultimately, over-communication can diminish your worth by making you seem overly available or emotionally dependent. Protecting your mystery is a vital step to maintaining your power and allure in any relationship. Number 3, ignoring your boundaries and saying yes to. Often, one of the quickest ways to lose your value in front of a man is by ignoring your own boundaries and saying yes to everything, even when it doesn't feel right. And boundaries are not just rules you set for others. They are a reflection of how much you respect yourself. When you fail to enforce your boundaries, you send a message that your needs and feelings are less important, and this inevitably lowers the way a man perceives your worth. Saying yes too often, especially when it conflicts with your values, time, or comfort, is a form of people pleasing. While it might seem like you are being kind or cooperative, it actually chips away at your self-respect. Over time, this behavior causes you to lose your sense of identity and power because you're constantly putting others' desires above your own. Men respect women who know what they want and aren't afraid to say no. Boundaries create a healthy balance in relationships by defining what is acceptable and what is not. When you establish clear limits, you demonstrate strength, maturity, and self-awareness, qualities that are highly attractive. Conversely, when boundaries are absent or weak, it creates confusion and sometimes even disrespect. Because without limits, people tend to take more than they should. Another critical point is that saying yes to often leads to burnout and resentment. If you're constantly agreeing to things out of fear of conflict or rejection, it's only a matter of time before you feel overwhelmed and exhausted. These negative emotions will eventually spill over into the relationship, making you less patient, less loving, and less engaged. Setting boundaries is not about being rigid or unyielding. It's about honoring your feelings, priorities, and well-being. For example, if you need time alone to recharge, you should feel empowered to communicate that clearly. If something makes you uncomfortable, you have every right to say no without guilt or apology. Knowing your limits and standing firm also teaches a man how to treat you. It sets a standard of respect and care that he must meet if he wants to remain in your life. This dynamic fosters a healthier, more balanced relationship where both partners feel valued and heard. When you say yes just to please or avoid conflict, you diminish your own value. But when you say no with confidence and grace, you reinforce your worth and command the respect you deserve. Number 4, neglecting your own growth and passions. One of the most overlooked ways women diminish their value in front of a man is by neglecting their own personal growth and passions. When you stop investing in yourself, your skills, interests, dreams, and well-being, you become less interesting, less vibrant, and ultimately less attractive. Men are drawn to women who are evolving, who have a sense of purpose beyond the relationship, and who live a life full of passion and ambition. Neglecting your growth often happens when you put a relationship or a man at the center of your world, letting everything else fall to the side. You might give up hobbies, pause your career goals, or stop pursuing your education because you think it's more important to focus on making the relationship work. But in reality, this kind of sacrifice can silently erode your value because it signals that your identity is tied to someone else's approval or presence. Men respect women who have their own lives, who wake up each day with goals, interests, and a sense of direction. When you are passionate about something, it shows you have depth and substance. It makes you someone who brings energy and inspiration to the relationship rather than someone who is dependent or stagnant. Moreover, when you stop growing, you risk losing your confidence. Growth fuels confidence, and confidence is one of the most magnetic qualities a woman can have. Passion projects, learning new skills, or even simple acts of self-improvement build your self-esteem and remind you of your own power and potential. Having your own passions also creates a healthy dynamic in the relationship. It ensures that you don't become overly reliant on your partner for happiness or fulfillment, which is crucial for maintaining balance and respect. When a man sees that you are whole and thriving on your own, he is more likely to see you as an equal partner, not someone who needs to be fixed or constantly supported. Neglecting your growth not only hurts your self-worth, but can also make you less interesting and engaging in conversations or shared experiences. On the contrary, when you actively pursue your passions, you become more vibrant and alive, qualities that naturally draw people in and make you unforgettable. Remember, your value is deeply tied to how much you invest in yourself. Choosing to grow, learn, and follow your passions keeps your spirit alive and your worth shining brightly in any relationship. Number 5, constantly chasing approval and validation. One of the most damaging behaviors that can kill your value in front of a man is the constant need for approval and validation. When you rely on someone else, especially a man, to affirm your worth, you surrender your power and signal insecurity. This desperate quest for reassurance creates an unhealthy dynamic and makes you appear less confident and less self-sufficient. Men are naturally drawn to women who are secure in themselves and do not depend on external validation to feel good. When you constantly seek approval, whether it's through frequent compliments, attention, or reassurance about your appearance or actions, it creates an energy of neediness. This neediness can be exhausting for the other person and often leads to emotional imbalance. Chasing validation also causes you to compromise your values and desires to please others. You might find yourself agreeing to things you're uncomfortable with or changing your opinions just to avoid conflict or gain acceptance. This not only diminishes your authenticity, but also confuses the man about who you really are. Authenticity is a cornerstone of true value, and when you lose sight of yourself to please someone else, your value diminishes. Furthermore, constantly seeking validation makes you vulnerable to emotional manipulation. When your self-worth depends on others' approval, you give them the power to control your emotions and self-esteem. This can lead to toxic relationships where you feel trapped and unappreciated, The key to maintaining your value is to cultivate internal validation, learning to affirm and appreciate yourself regardless of outside opinions. This means recognizing your strengths, accepting your flaws, and being proud of who you are. When you have a strong sense of self-validation, you become less reactive and more grounded. You don't need someone else's approval to feel worthy because you already know your value. Learning to stop chasing validation requires self-awareness and intentional practice. It involves setting boundaries around what kind of attention you accept and reminding yourself regularly of your worth. It also means embracing imperfections and understanding that you don't have to be perfect to be lovable. When you become your own biggest supporter, you shift the energy of your relationships. Men are drawn to women who are confident and self-assured because they bring strength and stability. This internal confidence is magnetic and greatly increases your value in any man's eyes. Number 6, showing desperation instead of patience. Desperation is a silent value killer that can sabotage any chance of building a meaningful connection with a man. When you come across as desperate, whether it's through rushing the relationship, clinging too tightly, or seeking constant reassurance, you signal that you lack patience and self-control. This behavior creates an unbalanced dynamic where you appear needy, and that neediness drastically lowers your value in his eyes. Patience is one of the most attractive qualities a woman can have because it reflects confidence, maturity, and trust in the process of relationships. It shows that you are secure enough to let things unfold naturally, rather than forcing or chasing after something before its time. Desperation, on the other hand, pushes people away because it creates pressure and discomfort. Men do not want to feel like they are the solution to someone's emptiness or the answer to urgent emotional demands. Showing desperation often stems from fear. Fear of losing the man, fear of being alone, or fear of not being good enough. This fear can lead to behaviors such as texting, constantly calling, or begging for attention and affection. These actions are counterproductive because instead of drawing him closer, they tend to overwhelm and repel him. Patience allows you to maintain your dignity and self-respect. It gives you the space to observe his actions and intentions clearly without jumping to conclusions or making assumptions based on insecurity. When you practice patience, you also give the relationship a chance to develop a solid foundation based on trust and mutual respect rather than urgency and emotional dependence. A patient woman understands that her worth is not defined by how quickly a man commits or responds. She knows that good things take time and that rushing only leads to disappointment. Patience empowers you to wait for the right person and the right circumstances rather than settling for less out of fear or loneliness. In relationships, timing is everything. When you allow the connection to grow at a natural pace, you increase the chances of creating something genuine and lasting. Desperation cuts short this process and often results in emotional chaos and regret. Cultivating patience requires self-awareness and emotional strength. It means learning to be comfortable in your own company, trusting that the right person will come when the time is right, and believing in your own value regardless of external outcomes. This mindset shift will not only protect your value, but also enhance your overall happiness and peace of mind. Number 7, and neglecting your appearance and self-care, one of the most straightforward, yet often underestimated ways to kill your value in front of a man is by neglecting your appearance and self-care. While true value isn't just about looks, the way you present yourself speaks volumes about how much you respect and love yourself. When you stop caring for your physical health, grooming, and overall well-being, it sends a subtle message that you don't prioritize yourself, which can translate into lowered attraction and respect. Self-care goes beyond just looking good on the outside. It's a reflection of how you treat yourself mentally, emotionally, and physically. When you maintain good hygiene, dress in a way that makes you feel confident, and invest time in your physical health, you project strength, self-love, and discipline. These qualities are inherently attractive because they show that you value yourself enough to put in effort, and that you have the energy and vitality to bring to a relationship. Neglecting self-care often happens when you become complacent, stressed, or overly focused on other people's needs at the expense of your own. Maybe you stop exercising, skip your skincare routine, or lose interest in dressing up because he should love me for who I am. While that sentiment holds truth on a deeper level, it ignores the fact that self-respect and self-love are visible through your actions, including how you care for your body and mind. When you disregard your appearance, it can unintentionally signal a lack of confidence or low self-esteem. Men are drawn to women who radiate health and vitality, and self-care is a powerful way to embody that energy. It's not about being perfect or meeting societal beauty standards. It's about honoring your own body and feeling good in your skin. Moreover, self-care routines help reduce stress, increase happiness, and boost your overall mindset. When you feel good, you act good, and that positivity becomes contagious. On the contrary, neglecting these habits can lead to feelings of exhaustion, negativity, and emotional instability, which can strain your relationships. Taking care of yourself is an act of self-respect that enhances your worth in any man's eyes. It shows that you understand your value and are committed to preserving it. This commitment to yourself naturally elevates your presence and makes you more desirable as a partner. Number 8, becoming too available and losing your independence. One of the most critical mistakes that can kill your value in front of a man is becoming too available and losing your independence. When you make yourself constantly accessible, answering every call immediately, rearranging your schedule on a whim, or dropping everything just to accommodate him, you unintentionally communicate that your life revolves entirely around him. This behavior diminishes your worth because it suggests that you don't have a fulfilling, independent life of your own. Men are naturally attracted to women who have their own passions, goals, and social circles. Independence signals strength, confidence, and self-sufficiency, qualities that elevate your value in any relationship. When you maintain your own life and interests, you become a more interesting and well-rounded person. It also creates healthy boundaries that prevent the relationship from becoming co-dependent or one-sided. Being too available often stems from fear. Fear of losing the man, fear of rejection, or fear of being alone. This fear drives you to prioritize his needs and wants above your own. While compromises is necessary in relationships, sacrificing your independence entirely is dangerous because it robs you of your identity and self-worth. Independence means having the courage to say no when you need to, keeping up with your friendships, continuing your hobbies, and pursuing your goals regardless of the relationship status. It means you are whole and complete on your own, and your happiness does not depend solely on a man's attention or presence. When you lose your independence, you risk becoming overly dependent emotionally and financially. This dependence can create power imbalances and make it difficult to assert yourself or make decisions freely. It can also lead to resentment and dissatisfaction in the relationship, as you may feel trapped or undervalued. On the other hand, when you maintain your independence, you create an attractive aura of mystery and strength. Men respect women who live full, vibrant lives and don't just wait around for their attention. This dynamic encourages mutual respect and admiration, which are essential for a healthy, lasting relationship. Balancing availability with independence requires self-awareness and discipline. It means being intentional about how you spend your time and energy, prioritizing your well-being, and trusting that the right man will appreciate you for who you are, not for how much you bend to fit into his world. Number 9. Letting past hurt and trust issues control you. Allowing past hurt and trust issues to take control of your emotions and actions is a powerful way to kill your value in front of a man. When you carry unresolved pain, betrayal, or mistrust from previous relationships, it can create barriers that prevent you from fully opening up and connecting in a new relationship. This emotional baggage often shows up as suspicion, jealousy, or constant questioning, which can wear down any man's patience and respect over time. Trust is the foundation of any healthy relationship. And when you let past wounds dictate your present, you inadvertently sabotage the chance for genuine connection. Instead of approaching a new relationship with hope and openness, you approach it with fear and guardedness. This energy creates distance and confusion, making it hard for a man to feel secure or valued. One of the most common signs of past hurt controlling you is a tendency to test or doubt your partner unnecessarily. You might look for hidden motives, interpret innocent actions as betrayals, or react disproportionately to small issues. This behavior stems from a place of fear, but often leads to self-fulfilling prophecies, pushing a man away and creating the very problems you feared. Another damaging effect of unresolved trust issues is communicating negative feelings or bringing up past relationships as comparisons. This not only burdens the man, but also highlights your inability to move forward emotionally. Instead of focusing on building something new, you remain stuck in old pain, which diminishes your emotional availability and value. Healing from past hurt requires conscious effort and self-compassion. It means acknowledging your pain without letting it define your present or future. It also means learning to trust again, both yourself and others, by setting healthy boundaries and communicating openly when ready. When you free yourself from the weight of past wounds, you allow space for authentic connection and growth. Men appreciate a woman who has healed enough to love without fear and who approaches relationships with vulnerability and strength. Releasing distrust and embracing hope restores your emotional power and dramatically increases your value in any man's eyes. Until you address and heal these trust issues, they will continue to undermine your confidence and the potential of your relationships. And learning to trust again is essential not only for your happiness, but also for the respect and value you command from those you care about. Number 10, allowing negative energy and complaining to take over. One of the most overlooked, value yet powerful ways to kill your value in front of a man is by allowing negative energy and constant complaining to dominate your attitude and conversations. When you consistently focus on problems, vent frustrations, or speak pessimistically about life, people naturally begin to associate you with stress, drama, and toxicity. This kind of energy is draining and unattractive, and it can push a man away faster than almost any other behavior. Men are drawn to positivity and emotional stability because these qualities create a safe and uplifting environment. When you bring negativity into a relationship, it burdens him with emotional weight that he may not be prepared or willing to carry. Constant complaining or focusing on what's wrong in life or the relationship signals dissatisfaction and a lack of resilience. It makes you seem less capable of handling challenges and more likely to create conflict. Negative energy often stems from unresolved personal issues, frustration, or feeling unheard. While everyone experiences bad days, when those moments turn into a constant pattern, it damages the emotional connection. Instead of inspiring hope and encouragement, you foster doubt and discomfort. Men respect women who can navigate life's ups and downs with grace and strength, not those who dwell in bitterness or cynicism. Additionally, complaining frequently shifts the focus away from solutions